Alright, in this video I want to quickly go over what a domain is, a domain name, and what hosting is. So when I first got started several years ago, it took me so long to figure out how to get a website, what an actual website was. I started out with free websites because I didn't know where to go to buy domain names. I didn't know how to get a .com or .net or .org, and eventually I discovered like web hosting, which is one component. But basically, you have a domain, you have hosting. Hosting are the files and where the files of the website are hosted, since everything is kind of remote and in the cloud, but the actual content of your website is what the hosting is for. You got to have somewhere to host those files. It's kind of like a virtual desktop, basically. So like you've got your desktop or your home computer, that's where your files, the things that you work on remotely, are. But if you're going to have files on the internet, then they need to be hosted on some kind of a server, and that's what the hosting does. It holds those videos and images and other files that make up your website, and the domain is basically, you can kind of think of that as the file name. And I know when you sign up for hosting accounts, a lot of times they'll throw in a free domain name that you can register with them, but it's best to have them separate. You can have there's domain registrars and then there's web host, and sometimes those are, you can get those in the same place, but I like to separate those because if you ever want to sell the domain or your website, or if you ever need to move hosting accounts, which is something you might find yourself doing in the future, depending on who you choose to go with initially for your web host, it makes it a lot simpler to quickly move your files to a new host, and then from your domain name, you'll just simply point it to that new web host. So basically, kind of what you have here, if you got the domains and you got hosting. Domain is your website name, your website name .com, .net, .org, .biz, .info, and those only cost about 10 or so bucks a year. Some are cheaper, some are more expensive depending on the domain extension name, meaning .com, .net, .org, and then you'll have your web hosting account, which that can range somewhere between a couple of bucks a month to on up from there, depending on what package you choose to go with. I usually like to select a package that allows me to host unlimited domains, whatever the cheapest option or plan for that is. But basically, once you get your hosting set up, you will connect your domain name to your hosting account and point it there. That way, whenever you upload files to your hosting account, when someone types in your website name .com, .net, .org, it will pull up those files because it's pointing to that hosting account, that server, and then the user, the visitor, will be able to access those files. So that's how domains and web hosting work. I wanted to kind of explain those for people that are brand new to this and SEO and making money online stuff. This is something that took me a while to kind of wrap my head around and learn, but it's extremely simple. And once you have it, and once you have this understanding and know what's going on, it literally takes a few minutes to buy domain names or set up new hosting accounts and connect them all together. So it's extremely simple. We're going to go over how to do that, but I just want to make this overview video explaining exactly what a domain was and hosting and how they work together.